Hi, this weekend I watched Conclave, one of the other major contenders at this year's Oscars. It's an adaptation of the novel by Robert Harris and follows the death of the Pope in present day Rome and sees the conclave tasked with choosing his successor being controlled by Dean Lawrence, the Dean of the College of Cardinals, and played by Ralph Fiennes. He has a great burden of responsibility and feels a great crisis, not in his faith, but over his position in the church. He wants to be a servant and be a shepherd of people, but instead has been told that he's more of a manager. However, there are a variety of candidates that present themselves for the Pope, and they have various conflicts in their background. Some are more corrupt, some are weaker than they should, despite a positive liberal outlook. And as the election continues, Lawrence finds his faith and his position tested in a variety of ways. I enjoyed this a great deal. I was very impressed by how the director, Edward Berger, is able to turn a film which consists mostly of men sitting quietly in rooms into a compelling thriller. The use of editing, photography, Volker Bertelmann's score all combine to create a very tense, propulsive atmosphere as the mystery over who will become the next pope and decide the future direction of the Catholic Church, one of the most powerful organizations in the world, of course, um, as this progresses and as secrets come out about the various candidates and proving that they are all deeply flawed individuals in their own way. It's a very compelling human story. Um, there are very fine performances across the board. Ralph Fiennes in the lead role, John Lithgow, Isabella Rossellini as one of the nuns, acting as managers and servitors during the course of the conclave, and who comes upon secrets of her own, which she feels ultimately compelled to share in order to ensure that only the most pious and most truthful person takes that highest seat. It's perhaps not one of the best films this year, but just because there seemed to be some element missing. Or maybe it just wasn't as good as some other films, but as a intelligent adult thriller that has respect for its audience, that shows great craft in turning what could otherwise be dry and static material into a compelling and riveting and fast-paced story. Just 2 hours. It's it's really quite an achievement, I think. Harris's previous books have a track record of making for strong screen material, with Fatherland, Archangel, Enigma, The Ghost, most particularly, having been very, very fine films. This is probably the best. Um, and it shows again his interest in the inner workings of organizations. How does the ritual work? How is the procedure generated? And the film dwells on the day to day functions within the Vatican of practical realities, like even down to how food is served, how food is even prepared. We see scenes in the kitchen with nuns making pasta. Um, it's an interesting and compelling. So I keep using the word compelling because it captivates you within the world of the Vatican. The film is enclosed entirely within the Vatican. We are informed that there are events going on in the outside world. There is response and reaction to the news of the continued deadlock. So it's not necessarily a world in isolation. We are very aware of how events within these rooms will impact the whole world. And I think it's a measure of Berger's talent that, as I say, what could just be a bunch of men in rooms has such pace and such vitality. It's a really strong thriller, an interesting series of moral conundra, and a very finely acted film. So it's certainly one of the best films of last year, if not quite in the top